presenting syphilis, an STD manifestation. Today I will be discussing the history, causes, risk factors, transmission, symptoms, phases of attack, effects, treatments, demographics, prevention, and the experiment of syphilis. Syphilis is an STD and an STI. It is caused by the bacteria Treponema pallidum. The effects are dangerous and can cause paranoia. It ranges from 5 to 20 years, and eventually the affected person dies. History. Syphilis originated from the New World. It first appeared in the French troops while attacking Naples in 1494. It is called morbus gallicus, which means French disease, but the French called it the Neapolitan disease. In the 20th century, the number of infected rose. It was called social evil in public media. Evil meant prostitution, and since the method of transmission is sexual intercourse, syphilis is an evil disease. Causes. Syphilis is caused by the bacteria Treponema pallidum. It is a spiral shape, which means it's spiral shaped. It can be spread by the touching of a syphilis sore during close bodily contact with the infected person. Risk factors: having multiple sex partners, having unprotected sex, sex at a young age, and weak immune system. Transmission. There are 3 ways of transmission: through sex or close body contact, through extragenital methods, such as if an infected person touches a piece of surgical equipment and it is left unwashed and used on a patient, that patient might have a chance to get syphilis. Through an infected mother to the baby, but it cannot be spread through ordinary objects. Symptoms. Syphilis has a long incubation time, so it takes a while to show any symptoms, up to 90 days. It's called the great imitator because it has a lot of similar symptoms as other diseases. There are 4 stages and different symptoms for each. Phases of attack. Syphilis attacks in 4 stages, and each progressing worse. The first stage, primary syphilis, you will develop ulcers, and they sometimes develop inside your body. They disappear in 3 to 6 weeks. Like the second stage, secondary syphilis, you develop painless rashes, usually on the palms of your hand and feet, and makes you vulnerable to bacteria around you, and the rashes may return in future stages. Third stage, latent syphilis, the bacteria lies dormant. And the 4th stage, hereditary syphilis. This will cause major health and neurological problems. The effects of this are irreversible. It may cause blindness, deafness, and paralysis, and causes neurosyphilis, which is brain damage and spinal cord damage, and then eventually death. The health effects: minor problems in early stages, major problems in the late stages. The effects are irreversible. You will develop painless ulcers and rashes and other minor problems, such as headaches. You will develop mental illnesses, such as paranoia, brain and spinal cord damage, and heart disease. The social effects: syphilis will spread through extragenital methods, so other people might get infected without having any sexual contact. During pregnancy, syphilis may cause miscarriages, which brings down the birth rate. Generations will be less likely to have a non-infected baby. Other people will judge infected by appearance from rashes and ulcers, so in return, the person may feel arrogance towards community. The treatments: syphilis will be treated by penicillin. It is most effective in the early stages. It is effective in preventing maternal transmission, which is mother-to-child transmission. It is inexpensive and cost-effective, but if it's not used early, there is a chance that the treatment won't work. Penicillin is not yet universal, so poor countries such as Burma might not afford it. Demographics. It is very common in the United States. and over 50% of mothers who have syphilis infect their child. It is most common in Black people, and men who have sex with women. Approximately there were 1,000 cases in 2012. In men who have sex with men, there were 3,500 cases. In women, there were 815 cases. Prevention. To prevent syphilis, you use condoms, you diagnose it early, you don't have multiple sex partners, and you don't have sex. Experiment. The purpose of the experiment was to find out if syphilis point-of-care tests may reduce transmission by increasing how fast people are treated. The hypothesis was the sensitivity and specificity of the subjects will determine if the syphilis point-of-care test will play a role in controlling syphilis. The methodology. There were 1,203 subjects tested. The point-of-care tests were evaluated using sera from labs in Australia. The sensitivity and specificity were calculated, and they tested primary and secondary syphilis. Results: the termine test had the highest sensitivity of all. It was 100% for primary syphilis and 100% for secondary syphilis. There is no significant difference in HIV status. Conclusion: point-of-care tests played a role in syphilis control, proving them to be useful for reducing transmission. Ms. Melber excited. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Jazz hands, Ryan. Raise your hand if you have a question for Ryan.
What happens if you have an allergic reaction or if you're allergic to meds? Is there another treatment you can do?
No. Maya?
I have two related questions. Are the phases inevitable? Like, can you heal before you get to the next phase? Or will you?
If you use penicillin in the early stages, you can stop yourself from moving on to the late stages.
And are all four of the phases like back to back? As soon as you finish one, you move into the next stage? Or is there like a lapse of time in between?
If the stages before are left untreated, then it will move on to the next stage. James?
So once you get to the last stage, is like death inevitable?
There is a chance that you won't die, and there is a chance that you will die. Corey?
You said that another person claimed the disease by ordinary objects. Like, what kind of ordinary objects?
Like, if the infected swims in a swimming pool, and someone else cannot get syphilis from the swimming pool. Joshua?
This is kind of related to what Maya asked. So, could you die before you get to the more severe stages? Is there a possibility?
No.
No. So, like, which stage starts off with having the possibility of death? Is it the last one or is it the third?
The last one.
One more question?
Jordan?
So I have two questions. Where is syphilis most common?
United States.
And then, what's the mortality rate for syphilis?
I'd have to conduct more research for that.
So,
Jazz hands for Ryan.